Does anybody think? I mean, really, if you're an editor at CNN, are you thinking at all? Is there anything going upstairs? Or are you just following along like, oh, what's the latest on the wire? What's Fox talking about? What's MSNBC talking about? What is everybody talking about? How about, why don't you do some independent thinking? Are you watching the news? Are you reading the news? Are you aware of anything that's going on? How come nobody does a story on, hey, so what if the surge has brought violence a little bit lower? When are we going to leave Iraq? I mean, I guess the whole idea is Bush is going to stay in Iraq for the rest of his term, and the Democrats have lost, so why bother talking about that? Maybe on a political perspective, at this point, because of the weakness of the Democrats, that might be true. But from a policy perspective, shouldn't people be asking, shouldn't they be asking the president, and obviously John McCain, what do we need to achieve to get out? All you guys ever talk about is staying, 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 staying. What's the barrier we have to cross? Is it violence? Is it lack of violence? Is it benchmarks? What is it? When can we say, mission accomplished, let's get the hell out of Iraq? And I'm not asking about the Democratic position. I think that position is a little clearer. I'm asking what the Republican position is. Why doesn't anybody on TV ever ask him this? When do we leave Iraq, according to the Republicans? Or are we never going to leave, according to the Republicans? Now, you and I know that the plan for the Republicans is, of course, to never leave. To have the permanent bases, sit on top of the Iraqi oil, wait for peak oil to come, and, I mean, whatever their fanciful, idiotic minds have brought them, okay? But they should at least be made to answer to the American public if they have a plan for leaving Iraq ever. Ever. And no one bothers to ask them that on television. I mean, how many U.S. deaths is it going to take? Iraqi deaths, we're already beyond it. Apparently, hundreds of thousands, millions, it doesn't matter. That's not going to affect U.S. politicians one scintilla.